This podcast is proudly brought to you in part by our wizards on Patreon. If you would like to support positive content, hop on over to patreon.com/MissMaryLou. That's patreon.com/MissMaryLou. If you're offered a seat on a rocket ship, don't ask what seat, just get on. Sheryl Sandberg. I love this quote, right? Because, gosh, this is a really cool analogy for, if you're offered a huge opportunity, like, you got this, go for it. Now, of course, like with all of these quotes, there's always like a look at a contract if it's a job thing to make sure you're not being taken advantage of and be smart about it, of course, yes. But like, I know for me, if someone is like, hey, you want to work on this thing for me? Like, because it's super fun and I'm excited about it. And I'm just like, yes, awesome. Being supportive and totally on board for different opportunities that come to us, and yes, take them, because like I miss like logic myself out of everything, right? Like overthink myself out of maybe something that would have been awesome. Like trust your gut. If it's awesome, you got it. Hello, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of PositiviTea. This is the podcast where we give you good vibes by the spoonful. I am your host, Miss Mary Lou Ryan, and it is so wonderful to be back in your ears, my friends, my wizards, my Tea Time fam loves. This podcast brings me so much joy, and I hope it puts a little, sunshine in your Thursday, because why not make Thursday a great day of the week? We can do that here. We can do it together. All sorts of wonderful stuff. I hope that your week has been pretty good so far, and this can be just a little glimmer of goodness you need to get you through the rest to the weekend. Thank you so much for your feedback, especially about last episode. It's always wonderful to hear from you. It's just like, it makes me all warm and fuzzy inside. And by the way, I have a Discord now, which is really exciting. It's like a community hub where everyone can post pictures of their pets and what tea they're drinking that day and share something good that happened to them. And the Discord has just like been such a light in my life, and I love it so much. I'm going to have it linked in the show notes if you want to hop on, and it's just lovely. For those of you that don't know what Discord is, it's basically just an organized private community chat room where people that like the same thing come together and like just have a wonderful time and support each other. And I love it so much. So that has just been so wonderful. And also, if you are having a rough day, the whole pet pics sort of chat is just full of goodness. We have everything from like horses to lots of my cats, of course, to all sorts of cute animals, fluffy or otherwise, and it just freaking brightens my day, and they're all just there for you, so I enjoy it so much. And thank you to everyone that's hopped on and has been a wonderful part of the community over there. Also, another announcement while we're at the beginning right here. I am going to be live streaming on Twitch, and for my Sunday More Merry episode here on the Miss Mary Lou channel, if you're watching on YouTube, I did a test stream of this past week on Sunday, and the response from everyone was just so... It's what I needed. It was the green light to know that this was a good idea and to move forward. I am going to be having live tea parties where I read classic children's books and playing my ukulele for some super cozy, relaxed music sing-along time. So right now I'm reading through The Wizard of Oz, which is one of my favorite books. Dorothy was a heroine that I grew up with. And as the Oz series goes on, Dorothy grows up and I grew up with her. And just, I remember my younger sister and I just being so hungry for these books. We would go to our tiny, teeny village local library and then just wait excitedly for the next Oz book to come in from somewhere else in the library network. And I love it so much. And reading out loud and sharing words with people is just such an important part of being a voice actor. And I really, really love the children's and young adult sort of reading level. It's a lot of where really happy memories for me came, and my father used to read to me as a kid. So I'm bringing that to a live stream. I don't know if this is really a thing people do, but I don't care. So yeah, we're having tea. Reading as of right now The Wizard of Oz. I hope to move on to like Harry Potter and maybe Anne of Green Gables and all sorts of really fun stuff, and a little ukulele sing along and maybe some other stuff too. Who knows? But yeah, I'm going to be streaming live on Twitch on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. I'm thinking like 7 p.m. ish, and on Facebook on Sunday afternoons at noon Pacific Standard Time. So keep an eye on the schedule on my Twitch page. It's twitch.tv/Miss Mary Lou, of course, just like everything else. If you want to hop onto that tea party, because I'm really, really excited to start this. I'll have to see what my schedule is like tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow will be the first official Twitch stream. That's an exciting thought. Yeah, friends. Oh my goodness. So many things. Let's hop into the first segment of our podcast. This is the self-care experiment, where every week I try to focus on something different, something seemingly small to maybe improve my daily life a little bit, give it a whirl. And last podcast, we talked about the concept that I have kind of been trying to embody of own your awkward. Own your awkward. You know, I have social anxiety and anxiety in a number of other situations, as well as a lovely, healthy dose of imposter syndrome and all kinds of stuff. But I have just been trying to embody this idea of, yeah, you know what? I'm a flappy Muppet human, and I'm a little weird and maybe a little much for some people sometimes, and it can be like I'm just awkward and I'm super introvert unite. And I've let this really get in my head in the past. Like I know I've been really aware of the fact that I'm awkward, and then I'm thinking about how I'm awkward, and then I'm thinking about how other people are thinking about how I'm awkward, and just like, you know what? I'm awkward, and just owning that fact and going into a situation unapologetically and unapologetically myself. And like, that's been such a wonderful way and continues to be such a wonderful way to connect with people. For some reason on the internet, I'm not afraid of just being my awkward whatever self. I don't know. I've never had any problems with doing that for you loves in the podcast or on YouTube or wherever that happens to be. Just being my weird self. And because it's just me, it's a lot easier to do this than to do something else. I'm telling you. And even since I have been really consciously trying to embody this, I even had a friend say to me recently, she's like, you seem a lot happier, not just like in life, but in your videos. And I think once you just know who you are and decide that's what's going to be put out in the world, and like I've been confident in like who I am for a while when I'm amongst friends, and when I'm by myself, it's just like meeting new people. It's been so hard, but it's getting there. It's getting easier, my friends. And this is a self-care experiment I am going to continue to experiment with. Own your awkward. Own it. It's like, it's so helpful. I'm telling you. So for this week's self-care experiment, this has been something that I have really been trying to work on for years now. But I took a really, really big step Y'all are going to be proud of me for this one. Asking for what I need. Ask for what you need. If you need something, ask for it. Ask for help. Ask for whatever it is. I have been very open about the fact that I am a recovering perfectionist. Gosh, I have been struggling with that for decades. And asking for what you need and that whole being a perfectionist, taking pride in being self-reliant, but then letting it limit you from actually having others help. It's just a lot, and it's been difficult. And honestly, I think, weirdly enough, one of the things that's helped me on this whole recovery journey the most from perfectionism is actually making content, making things for YouTube, making the podcast. Because if producing 3 things a week, if everything had to be perfect, I would never get anything done. I'm just like forcing myself to crank stuff out, holding myself to some kind of schedule, at least to an extent. Done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. Like, dang, I'm tattooing that like on the inside of my brain. Done is better than perfect. It's great to be a detail-oriented person, but it is not great for it to drive you into a hole and still never get anything done. My goodness. But on a positive note, very specifically, I wanted to talk about this week. I've really been feeling bogged down by my upload schedule recently. I have a lot of stuff going on in life that is stressful. And I love making things. But I've been feeling the weight of editing things recently. And that sucks because like I really like editing, but I would just feel like I was getting sucked into this pit just so often because, for every half an hour of footage I have, there's several hours of editing. And I'm even like really quick. I'm unusually quick. Like I can edit this half an hour podcast in an hour and a half. I can edit even a video with a bunch of B-roll in like 3 hours, maybe 4, if it's really like fancy footage heavy, which is that's really good time. But the whole process was just like so like pulling teeth. I was like, this is not sustainable. It's not sustainable for one person to record and edit 3 things a week by themselves. And friends, I have an editor now. Oh my goodness gracious. My phenomenal and really talented sister-in-law, Liz, shout out to you, Liz. She's going to be editing all of my Tuesday content, so my Tea Time with Mary episodes. And just knowing that I have that one more thing off of my plate, because it's been really hard to produce the podcast when I've been so focused on getting Tuesday content out. Then I'm exhausted by Tuesday night, and then that leads me to like record and edit the podcast in the same day, which I'm doing this week, which is just like, it's a lot. It's a lot to record and edit in the same day. So this week we met while I edited, and like we talked through how I edit generally and stylistic choices that I make. And of course, like, she's a genius. I want her to put her own spin on things, that's for sure. But as of officially next week, my Tuesday episode is going to be edited by a wonderful human. And as a recovering perfectionist, having someone else edit my face into a brand that is completely mine, it's been hard. It's been really hard to get to this point. But you know what? Liz knows me. She's so good at what she does. She loves what she does so much. And like, I need help. I needed the help. And I went and frickin' asked for it and she said yes. So that is so fabulous. And so now going back to my announcement earlier with Twitch, I'm trying to lighten my load even more so that Sunday content, at least for a while, is going to be live streaming, reading books, drinking tea, and playing songs on my ukulele. So it's going to be a live stream, which is less work in post production. So now it's like the only thing I have to edit is the podcast, which the podcast to me feels like cheating editing because I generally just like let it play, and then if like there's a noise coming from outside or whatever, I'll just edit around it. So I'm really hoping that this is going to make my content more sustainable right now while I'm going through a lot emotionally and in my life because I just love it so much and I want to continue to spread joy, continue to try to be like the sunshine and rainbows that you need in your cloudy sky and that I need, honestly, because, you know, it can be really difficult because I want to shut down when things are happening. But one of the things that helps me the most is making stuff. There's a reason I make stuff, you know? Like, yes, I love having the sort of purpose and drive of creating a safe space, a safe community to talk about things like mental health and stuff like that. But also, I do it because I love it. And because like creating things is really, really good for my mental health to have that outlet. And to just like be like, yeah, I made that. I did that. It was great. It was super great. So I don't want to stop all of that and cut myself off because I've done that before. And sometimes it is necessary just to take a flat out break. But I've just been loving it so much, except for editing lately, which is a shame because I love editing. But I think this will be a really good way to make this sustainable and keep it going. So, Liz, you're a rock star. Thanks for hopping on board. And I really look forward to what's happening with all the things right now. Community news. Welcome to Community News. This is the part of the podcast where I give you, the listeners, a bit of a shout out, celebrate your general awesomeness. Every week I do a shout out on social media, or I encourage you, please, to just send me good stuff in your life as the week goes on. And then, like, I talk about it because you're awesome. I even have a whole PositiviTea talk about your good stuff and lift each other up section of my Discord, which is where we are getting most of our community news today. So very exciting. So from Discord, Dear Daybreak says, I just finished finals for my summer session last week. Now I'm enjoying my 1 week of summer vacation before fall semester starts. After December, I'll officially be done with all my transfer requirements and ready for university. Oh my goodness, Dear Daybreak, you're a wizard. You're a wizard. You're a university prepped and almost ready wizard. School is starting up. Happy back to school, everyone, regardless of your age, regardless if you teach or if you are a student. It's just a wonderfully exciting time of year. Some schools start in late August, some start in September. But like wherever you are, happy back to school, everybody. And Dear Daybreak, I think that is so wonderful that you are working towards this goal, that you can see the light. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And you are working and excited and yeah, taking summer classes and taking fall classes and taking like, you're doing it. You're doing the thing. You did the summer school, which like been there, done that. I've also done like January sessions to get to where I'm going. And I'm so proud of you, Dear Daybreak. There's something magical about a new semester starting, a new school year starting. You get all of your syllabi from all your teachers, and you see what students are in the classes with you. And there's something just late August, early September in the air that's just so, you know what it is? It's the anticipatory excitement. It's the, oh, I can't wait for what's coming. And that's really what this post reminded me of, which is why I wanted to feature it. It's like sometimes the excitement about looking forward to something is just as good as actually doing the thing. And it's just like so wonderful. I'm so thrilled for all of what's ahead of you, all of your potential fun times and knowledge and doing the things to get to where you want to go. So, dear Daybreak, you are a student wizard. Also from Discord, this is from Rachel, and Rachel says, I gave blood today and filled the pint in less than 5 minutes. I race myself. The trick is drink lots of water and no caffeine. Rachel, you are a life-saving wizard. Life-saving wizard. Yeah, that's right. Donating blood saves lives. And I love that you make it like a little game for yourself now. Because I know Rachel, she does donate blood as often as she can. And yeah, that is really good advice. Lots of water and no caffeine, because caffeine constricts your blood vessels. And Rachel, it means a lot that you choose to do that with your time. It's just one of the most wonderful volunteer services that can happen. And on a personal note, I can't donate blood. I have a genetic mutation. So there's like wonky stuff going on in my DNA that makes my life like more difficult. So naturally, I can't donate blood. So anytime someone can, I encourage them to do so. It's so necessary. You are literally giving life. Literally giving life. And especially because I know that I can't. I can't do it. And so those that can. So Rachel, thank you for being a life-saving wizard. If you're able to donate blood or anything like that to help your community, I would love to hear about it. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love to hear about it. I don't know what that was, but I am delighted. Yeah, be a life-saving wizard if you can, just like Rachel. And then this last bit of community news I'm hijacking again, just because I'm so excited about it. So this is kind of like from me and my fiance Jacob. We started playing Final Fantasy III, and it is my favorite thing ever. Like, ever. Had to get a little bit of nerd news in there. We have the SNES Mini, if you've ever like played the Nintendo SNES Classic. And I have never played a Final Fantasy game before. I watched my older sister growing up playing, I think, Final Fantasy X, and I was just so in awe, and I loved it. But I never really watched her play consistently enough to get a sense of the full arc of the story. So I know other humans too that are all about Final Fantasy, like Liz, my sister-in-law, aka awesome editor numero uno, loves Final Fantasy. And I have to say, I've caught the bug. I've caught it, and I just anything that dates around that era that's in, I believe is it 32 or 64-bit? I can't remember. Nerds, holler at me. There's something that's just so charming about it, and I can't get enough of it. And I love RPGs, right? And the wonderful thing about this game is that it's turn-based combat. You can set it to be a little bit more about timing and stuff like that, but Jacob and I have chosen not to, and that makes it a lot less stressful because, as I've talked about in the past, being under a time constraint really causes me a lot of anxiety, which is why, like other games like Secret of Mana, for instance, that's also on the SNES Mini as a built-in game, I love the story so much, but the combat is so stressful. It's so stressful, and I am pretty far in the game, but it's just gotten to a point where I can't handle the combat anymore, and I had to step away, which like makes me a little sad, but also makes me extra excited when I find things like Final Fantasy 3. Find something you love and share it with others, friends. Final Fantasy 3 is a great one. Good news, everyone! I have good news. Welcome to the last segment of our podcast, where every week I dive into the depths of the interwebs or wherever to find a bit of good news. Again, it is important to stay informed with the happenings of the world, but it is also important to able to be a functioning human being. So I'm here for you with good tidbits from the world to like put in your ears and hopefully brighten your day. All right, friends. So this week I'm doing something I have never done before as far as source material. I've been reading a book, and honestly, it's so delightful, and it ties into so much of just about me and what I love. The book is called The Tao of Pooh by Benjamin Hoff. It's a book that was published in the 80s, and it's essentially talking about how Winnie the Pooh, yes, that Pooh Bear, is a Tao or Taoist master, essentially, like the Western icon for Taoism, and how the other characters in the Winnie the Pooh universe, if you will, represent different sort of things that we can fall into as humans that can hold us back from being more like Winnie the Pooh. For it on the back, for instance, it says, "While Eeyore frets and Piglet hesitates and Rabbit calculates and Owl pontificates, Pooh just is." And I have talked about already how I really love classic children's literature. I have the complete Winnie the Pooh works by A. Milne. And I actually recently got my hands on my childhood copy that like my dad used to read to us from. And it smells, oh man, I want like a candle that smells like that. Ugh, because it's just so good and so special. And the illustrations, the ink drawings are just so lovely. And so to come across a book like this was actually a gift from my future sister-in-law, Katie. So thank you, Katie, for this. I have a couple chapters left, and each chapter kind of goes over a different Taoist principle, but through the lens of Winnie the Pooh and his other friends in the 100-Acre Wood. And the last chapter I read is the one that I want to talk more about today. If you're able to get your hands on this, check at your library, check to see if you can find it used. I don't know if they're still printing it. Maybe they are. But borrow it from a friend. Get your hands on this book, friends, because it is such a cozy, positive sort of read, especially if Winnie the Pooh has a special place in your heart. And even if he doesn't, there's lots of excerpts from the actual Winnie the Pooh stories in here. And lots of the illustrations, the ink drawings as well. And and it's a quick read. It's a super easy read. I could probably polish it off in an afternoon if I wanted to, but I've been taking my time and really trying to absorb what's in here because there's a lot. I have a feeling I'm going to finish this and then reread it again. But the last chapter that I read is called Busy Baxen. And Busy Baxen comes from a story in the Winnie the Pooh books where Rabbit goes to check on to see if Christopher Robin is home, and he sees a note which says "Gone out, Gon, Baxen, Busy Baxen," and then signed Christopher Robin, meaning gone out, back soon, busy, back soon. And it even says Rabbit didn't know what a Baxen was, in spite of the fact that he is one. And Rabbit, in this sense, kind of represents the go, busy for the sake of being busy, always running around and never quite getting anywhere. And I was like, hold on, this sounds a little bit familiar. How Rabbit will literally run around in circles, just constantly shooting back and forth. Like, think of an idea and then just go do it without really giving it much thought or anything like that. Just busy for the sake of being busy, and then doesn't accomplish much by the end of the day. And that feels real familiar, friends. I feel like right now, where we are as a society, being busy is, dare I say, overvalued. Overvalued. Just being like, oh, well, what are you up to? Oh, well, I went here and here and here and here and here. And, but what did you actually do? What did you learn today? Were you just Rabbit who had the answer in front of him the whole time, but he's too in it in this whirlwind to really be able to step back and see things as they are? Like Winnie-the-Pooh. Winnie-the-Pooh is like a simple-minded character, but that's not a bad thing. It's, in fact, quite a good thing, and usually ends up like him saving the day. In one way or another, or one of the other critters saving the day based on whatever they're naturally good at. Like, for example, Piglet is really small, and that makes him very anxious and very nervous. But sometimes being small is exactly what you need and is your strength. And all Piglet really needs is just a little bit of courage, and he's able to do things that his little anxious brain, does this sound familiar, anyone? That his little anxious brain would have never thought that he could do. Where just being his little piglet self is just what the world needs, just what he needs to be. Do you see why I freaking love this book so much, friends? And just being Rabbit, being the busybody, being the busy back soon, or the busy backson, someone that is always out, someone that is always doing something, but is never productive. I honestly think, and especially, okay, so I went to music school, right? I went to college. My degree is technically a bachelor's in fine arts of musical theater, but I had a large concentration in classical voice. And whether it was singing or violin or whatever instrument that you were doing, so many students would practice like 8 hours a day, just going, always busy, back soon. Oh, I'm gonna go practice. I'm practicing this and this and this and that. But what would they do in those 8 hours? 8 hours worth of productivity? No, definitely not. And like somehow, how many hours you can literally torture yourself in a practice room became like bragging rights. Like, oh, well, I only got in 6 hours of practice today, but I got in 10 hours on Sunday. And it's like, oh my gosh, but friends, just being busy to be busy and to say that you practiced for 10 hours in a day, which, like, when stuff like that happens, like, that's when people that I knew had to take entire semesters off because they were developing carpal tunnel or they wore out their voice, and your health just and mental well-being just starts to decline. It's just this weird thing. Or like, I wake up really, really early every day and I'm productive for like 8 hours straight, and then I do this or that or the other thing. And like, maybe that works for you. Great. I'm super, super productive after 9 p.m. Like 9 to midnight is when my brain is like, heck yes, I'm getting this done. And just because I wake up at like 10 o'clock in the morning doesn't mean I should be made like feel bad for it. Like, no, that's just the way my body's working. And I'm way more productive with my time that way. I have more time to breathe during the day. That's just so wonderful. And again, like, nothing wrong with if you're an early riser, or who knows, maybe you are the most productive, wonderful person for those 8 hours in a practice room. But Yo-Yo Ma does not even practice for 8 hours a day. Okay? He just doesn't. being busy in and of itself, it doesn't have as much value as everyone likes to tell us that it does. I think, honestly, being more thoughtful and more intuitive to what your body needs, so that when you are there to, practice or whatever it is, do things you need to do, work, you get so much more done. You get so much more done. And you feel a lot better about it because you haven't been already at it for 4 hours at a time. And I realize, as far as a workplace situation, what I'm experiencing is a bit of a luxury, because I'm trying to make a sustainable way to work for myself from home. But like, even throughout your day, if you notice, hey, you're more busy, then take your lunch break when you feel like you need to take your lunch break. And take a few minutes to just breathe, walk around when you need to, step outside for a minute, enjoy the birds. There's so much power and productivity in just stillness and being intuitive and observational and being busy for being busy like rabbit. It's not all it's cracked up to be. And it can be really dangerous when it's celebrated so much, because like recovering perfectionist me, I feel like I need to try to do all the things at the same time, and then nothing really turns out very well because I'm just busy. But I can say that I'm busy, but yeah, I've learned the hard way, friends, it's not really worth it. Nope, it's not. So instead of striving to be busy Baxon, let's all strive to be Winnie-the-Pooh, right? And just observe things for what they are, take things as they come. And I think, well, certainly for me, I could be a lot happier. So if you really like the idea that I've been talking about of busy Baxon, or just exploring the different characters in Winnie the Pooh and just self-identifying them and ways to maybe live life a little more like our favorite bear, definitely pick up The Tao of Pooh by Benjamin Hoff. You will not regret it. And if you do get your hands on it, please let me know. I almost talked about another chapter, Cuddleston Pie, but I just read like last night Busy Baxon, and I'm like, nope, that's it. I know what it's like to be a busy Baxon. And yeah, you know what? It gets really, really tiring. So I wish you all luck on, embodying your inner Mr. Pooh Bear. Well, friends, this has been a wonderful podcast. I'm so glad that I was able to be here with you this week. This was a big episode. Lots of really wonderful things, lots of honest sort of things. Let me know how you have been doing, dear listener wizard friends. And again, if you have read The Tao of Pooh, or are able to get a copy of it and read, I think yes. Also, have you played Final Fantasy III? Because I need to know. Anywho, yeah, ask for what you need, be brave, all the good things, friends. I wish you nothing but a little bit of quiet time to yourself and love and light for this next week. Again, you can reach out to me on social media. I'm at Miss Mary Lou most places. Join in on our Discord if you want like a regular feel good tea party, wonderful time. I would super love to see you there. And last and most important of all, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next tea party. This podcast is lovingly produced, directed, written, and created by yours truly, Miss Mary Lou Ryan. Our music was composed and performed by Jacob Kahn. Our logo designed by Hilda Meyer Post. And if you'd like to spread a little positivity into the universe, I would love wherever you are tea partying with us to spread the words with those who could use a little cheer in their cuppa. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.